Here we see a BMW pulling into a residence at night. Suddenly, a man appears from behind walking towards the car. We see more men joining him as this was about to be a hijack. Luckily, the driver managed to escape safely there. We then transition to the next video where a group of men are opening a gate at a residence. The others look to be second-guessing their actions there, but the leader was definitely on a mission. They finally got the courage to follow the first culprit, but they were not ready for what was coming. The clowns even decided to close the gate behind them as if they were entering their home, a decision they were about to regret. One of the culprits can be seen going up the stairs, but he suddenly retraced his steps. The owner had decided to join this party with his firearm in hand. Suddenly, the clowns became beggars as they could not wait to leave the area. Props to the owner there for protecting his property. Here we see men struggling to...
Yo, honestly, the South African law is fucked up. You know, people, if they're intruders, they need to get shot. You know, unfortunately, that guy couldn't shoot these criminals because they were walking away. So if they're walking away and shoot them, it's gonna be seen as it's gonna be intentional murder if there's such a thing. It don't be considered self-defense because they were living and they were not dangerous. But honestly, in a fair world, I felt that if somebody breaks into my house, whether they are running away or not, they should get shot, honestly. The fact that they even tried, they should get shot for that, according to me, because if you didn't have a gun and they caught you lacking and doing nothing, you don't know what they're going to do to you, you know? So, yeah.
Pretty. Here we see men struggling to open a gate at a residence. They did not notice the owner recording their every move there. Suddenly, the owner decided to make his presence known, leading to this intense staring contest. The clowns realized their failure and left the scene. To think these people have the audacity to do this in broad daylight is astonishing. Luckily, no one was hurt here, but this shows the importance of security systems and guard dogs in homes. These measures reduce these possibilities to an extent.
That guy looks so surprised, man. He looks super surprised.
The video inside a butchery. We see people standing in line for their orders. They had no idea what was coming. Suddenly, a man produces a firearm and points it straight at the customer service. But the owner was ready for this moment. He went straight to work as he shot at the robber first, catching the clown by surprise. The robber had zero chance there. The owner was extremely lucky here. Fortunately, no innocent bystander was hurt in this situation. In this video, we see people at the mall before bullets started flying. The robbers here were trying to rob a cash and transit truck. The guard managed to fight back and came out on top in this scenario. The robbers had no chance here as they struggled to escape the scene after their failed attempt robbery. In South Africa, it is always recommended to limit walking at night, mostly in shady areas. Here we see two men walking in the street during late hours. Suddenly, they meet unwanted company who immediately went to work on the two men. This had become a robbery. This is common in the country, and people are recommended to always be vigilant when walking in the street. Fortunately for these two men, a group of guards on duty saw what was happening and decided to come and assist the unfortunate situation. The clowns realized their mistake and decided to run for their lives. Props to those guards right there. Here we see two...
Yo, man, I just want to say shout out to those guys. You know, like, if you have been in Johannesburg CBD, I don't know what is happening there. People there, like, they don't have Ubuntu. You know, like in Johannesburg CBD, you can literally get dropped while people are just passing and walking by and they don't even do anything. Like, I remember the first time I saw that shit happen in Johannesburg, I was so surprised. Because, I mean, where I come from in Polokwane, you would never do that shit. Like, if you try to rob somebody and people see you, best believe they are going to arrange a meeting between you and God on that day. So Joburg people gotta do better, man. I don't know if it's because there's different tribes there or what's happening, but that shit that they're doing, it's not good for anybody. It's not good for them also. Imagine getting robbed and people just watch and pass like nothing's happening. That's crazy, man. We're supposed to stay united as victims of these fucking crazy crimes.
two men rushing towards a stopped vehicle. This was a calculated move as they knew the driver was stopped by a blockage and had limited escape routes. These robbers usually take advantage of situations like this, either being in traffic or entrances. We see one of them grab something from the car, and they start running away from the area. But the lady inside the vehicle was not about to give up on her belongings that easily. She suddenly moved forward towards the culprit holding the bag. The man rushed trying to get away there. We then transitioned to a different camera view. We can even see a police van right by the fuel station as they witnessed this commotion. The lady made sure the robber could not escape there as she went straight through. There was no way the culprit could escape that matchup.
That's crazy. That woman is a straight soldier, man. I probably would have done that too, man. I don't think I would let anybody take my shit and just get away with it. Especially if I can help it. No fucking way.
In the next video, we see a similar situation from the last where a car is entering an estate. Robbers always target these situations in the country due to limited escape routes. We see the white car behind stopping and a robber comes out holding a firearm. This was now a full-on hijack right by the gate. Fortunately, the driver managed to escape here. On the next video, we see cars moving on the street. At first, it seemed like a normal day in the country, but any time is clutch time in South Africa. We see a car slowing down towards a residence as another car had just entered the same area. We then see another scenario where most drivers get vulnerable and how these culprits operate in every instance. The driver of the white car had no idea what was following just behind. We then see the other car stopping right by the gate as the culprits prepared to execute their foul plan. They first went towards the guard who was about to investigate the situation. There were several shortcomings here. If this was a protected residence, unidentified cars without authorization should never be allowed to get this far. We see the culprits as they chased the guard, but fortunately the small destruction had allowed the targeted car to escape the scene. The culprits realized their failure and scrambled to escape. We see as they struggle to reverse out of the residence due to the gate being closed behind them.
That's a smart move. How are they going to get out?
They eventually managed to open the gate and left the area. This was definitely scary for the residents of this estate. Fortunately, no one was hurt in the end. On the next video, we see a red car stopped right by the entrance as the owner talks with the guards. We then see a black car approaching the vehicle from behind. Right then, a group of men come out of the vehicle, guns drawn ready to execute their plan. The driver was not about to give up that easily. That reversing maneuver was straight out of an action movie. The robbers had zero chance there as they were left dumbfounded by the driver. Luckily, no one was hurt here, and props to that owner for that fast reaction. This man was enjoying his day in broad daylight in Durban. He had no idea what was coming next in a few moments. We see as he lights up his cigarette while viewing the area in front of him. We then see a car stopping before men come rushing towards him with guns. They demanded for the car keys and possibly his cigarette too, as these clowns are known for scraping for anything in sight. They then try to force him inside the vehicle. This is a common thing with these robbers in South Africa. They sometimes kidnap victims and demand huge ransom amounts to the families. The man was not about to allow this at all, as the 65-year-old stood his ground there. Even the strength of 3 men could not defeat his spirit there, as he made sure he was not going anywhere with these people. The man fought with every strength in his body, as he knew the consequences of giving up there.
Yeah, that man is a G, man. He's a fucking soldier. Nobody's gonna come. What's happening? Nobody's going to help.
They eventually gave up after struggling bad to execute their foul plan. The situation got even worse for these clowns, as the car was shortly recovered by the tracking securities. The 65-year-old was unfazed as he calmly lit his cigarette and resumed his session. Props to the man and the tracking company for making sure the clowns got away with nothing there. Here we see a group of men struggling to get into a van. These men had targeted this van and were busy hijacking the driver in broad daylight. We see as they eventually managed to open the door to access the controls of the vehicle. These men thought they were about to be successful in their heist, but they had no idea what was about to happen in a few moments. We can see them driving along the highway as they possibly plan their next move. Right then we notice two orange cars right behind the truck. These were the private security response possibly triggered by the driver. We then see the private security intercepting the van guns drawn as they made sure the culprits could not escape the scene.
Shout out to the orange team.
This shows the great importance of trackers and a good responding private security team. The culprits had zero chance there as they were apprehended by the force. Fortunately, no one was hurt in this situation. Next, we see a car entering a gate with another car following right behind. This is another situation where the culprits followed the victim back home. We see as the owner parked his car, but he was suspicious of the car right behind him. We then see a man exiting the car behind coming straight for the parked vehicle. The driver had recognized the danger, so he decided to reverse his vehicle and try to find an escape route. We see the robbers as they try to intimidate the driver, but he was not about to give in that easily. This situation's dangerous as they involve firearms. The owner was fortunate here in this case. It is always recommended to make sure you have the upper hand when firearms are involved. Life is more important than possessions. On our next video, we can see a gate being open as a car prepares to enter. The pattern used by these robbers can be seen to be consistent on most of the scenes we have seen so far. The car waits for the gate to open before entering the residence. When entering homes, it is highly recommended not to leave the gate open for too long in South Africa, as this can leave you vulnerable to targeted attacks. We then see men entering the gate with firearms as this had become a hijack. They quickly move towards the driver, trying to open the doors of the vehicle. At the same time, we see the gate closing behind, but it was a bit too late. The driver was not about to open the door that easily as he calculated his next move under intense pressure while facing a life and death situation. We then see the gate opening as this seemed like the hijackers had gotten their wish. Suddenly the car reverses and we see the clowns scrambling to get hold of the situation. There was no way they were coming up on top there. Fortunately, the driver had managed to escape the scene.